We are at Thessaloniki, Greece, after the seminar with Christoph Joris. Hello, Christoph.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Fine, fine. Nice to be here in Greece.
First time in Greece or?
No, second time.
Second
time in Greece.
Then,
yeah.
what do you think?
Nice country. Very nice food.
You like the food?
Especially, yeah. I like the food, yes, a lot.
So, do you come from Belgium?
Yes.
And you are a dog person?
Yes.
And do you want to tell us some things about yourself?
Oh, yeah, that I'm 47. Was born in Belgium, lived always in Belgium. I'm from the Flemish part, born in Flanders. I live in Wallonia. So, and I was always a little bit in dogs since I was a child. And I made my profession out of it. So I do this now for, let's say, 20 years. I live from my passion.
Yeah. Okay. And in which age you had your first dog?
Oh, my first dog, I was, at my parents' place. We had always dogs, German Shepherds, Malinois. So I was raised with dogs. My first personal dog I had when I was 7. It was a cross. And but it was a nice dog. And my second dog, I was a little bit older, I think 10 years old, was a Molly.
Malinois.
Yeah,
female. So you had a Malinois
since
a
Molly. Yeah,
37 years before, eh?
Yeah, this is, I will say a little 40 years ago.
40 years ago.
Yeah.
And what made you go into the dog profession?
Oh, it had an early start. I was a kid, 7 years old, going with my father to the training field. At that time, Kennel Club was ring sport, and it made such an impression on me. I still remember that field with the dog jumping the palissade and biting on that suit. Of course, that suit that was the most important for me. Yeah, that I liked. So I said one day I want to also to be in that suit and training dogs. So it had his start there.
So your parents were into the dogs, or?
Yeah, my father, he liked the dog sport, but he was not really a dog trainer because he didn't have time. He had to work a lot, and so it was not like we see dog sport now that he could go 3 times a week to the training field. I wanted to, but he could not. So we went from time to time, and this went on until I was 14, 15, and my father said, now we will have a Bouvier. I didn't know what a Bouvier was, start to look in books and reading about it. So we had our first Bouvier. And I was in love with the breed because it's something from our country. And it was a little bit disappointing because already at that time the Bouvier was not the same as they said in the books. You have this idea, this is the most fantastic dog in the world. And we went then again to dog training, to a dog field, and was a little bit disappointing. It was not
as it looked like,
as it's supposed to be. Yeah. And then we changed club with this dog because you always think, the trainer cannot help us. In fact, it's like a lot of times the dog was the problem.
Yes.
So could not fix this. And then one day I was in a club and there they trained Malinois. Then I was 16. And they put me once in the suit for the experience, and then it started.
It was really near Ghent?
No, it was near my place in Giersbergen. And there was a St. Hubertus ring club.
Okay.
And there I started. So, but then of course there was studying, and it was a little bit.
What did you study?
Oh, I went to high school. But I changed it for dogs because in that time I met somebody who was a professional before, what was really rare at that time in Belgium. But he was training dogs for blind people and people with a handicap. But the guy had also done a little bit ring sport and was into IPO. So I had my history of ring. It was at that time not like ring is now. You have to see it 35 years ago. It was the old school. So, and then I met this guy training another type of dogs, but also loving to do
Yes.
bite work. But he had a totally different vision on this. And he could make bite that in the dogs and work dogs that in the traditional old school ring sport club, they said, oh, come on, go. So then he teach me to put on the sleeve. So not the suit, but the sleeve, and understanding and how you have to behave as a decoy. And all of a sudden it was more complicated than I thought. In the ring sport club, you just put it on the suit and the dog bit or he didn't bite. At his place it was, no, we have to find a solution that he bites. So he teach me this and he said, I have a job for you in a German Shepherd Club show lines. And you can imagine what this is.
Yes.
So and he said, okay, when you can make bite these type of dogs, one day you have a chance to become a decoy. You know, everybody
What was his name?
It was Juan Lopez, a Spanish guy, not confusing with Juan Lopez,
Yes.
the known dog trainer from Envibica, but also Juan Lopez. I think there are 1 million Juan Lopez's in the world. And he teach me to do this, and I'm still thankful to him that he pushed me in that direction, because I didn't understand in the beginning these dogs. Man, if you're coming out of a ring sport and you see, okay, the guy says easily, okay, it's not good enough, another one. And this guy said, no, it's up to you to make him bite. So I did this and I could do it in the end, and his thing was, the day you can make bite a sheep, you will become a decoy. So that was a little bit my school. And then from there, I left to Holland. Coincidence, I was looking for a job.
How old nearly?
Oh, then I was, I think, 20 or something.
Okay.
And then I was in Canine, in a Canine club. But it started with, because this guy was in Holland a breeder of working Bouviers. And I had still my love for the Bouviers, and one day having a Bouvier that could work like a Molly. So I write this guy. Now it's a little bit stupid when you say I write this guy, because the internet was really in the beginning. So I contact this guy, he invites us, go to the Canine club. I said, oh shit, this is different. So we look at the Bouviers and we are invited again, and in the end he proposes me a job, because he had a big pension, Mollies and Bouviers for breeding for the sport. So I said, okay, I have no job. I go and live in Holland with those people, very nice people. Severance Frits in Zevenum, also a national judge. And I worked there for 1 year. There I start to know the Canine PV, and I like this, and with my IPO thing, I was catapulted in this, let's say, old school Canine PV again, like old school ring sport. And I stayed there for 1 year. So after a year working in Holland and meeting this Canine PV people, and I came back, stopped there. And I went back to my one of the first clubs in Heeresbergen, a ring club. And there I met a guy, Robert Alpers. A lot of people, when you mention him in NVBK, they don't know him. They know him as Genou, the knee. So it was a very good decoy. It was a different way to look at things for me. And of course, I had this old school in my head. Now the Canine PV method. Don't forget Juan with the IPO system at that time. So I came there and I said, okay, now
What was the name, Juan?
Juan Lopez was a Spanish guy, not Lopez Jean from NVBK. And so I was in Heeresbergen in that ring club, starting NVBK. And I stayed there, I met there some people, like Clément Bastens, an old guy, never been a competitor, but a guy that I respect a lot. He did training dogs until he was 85. He came to my club. And then, okay, in 95, I think, yeah, I bought my house in Ruby and I made my own training field in my backyard. It's still there. And there I started with Clément, the old man. And after 1 week, there were 10 people coming to my place.
So back then, when you started your own club, were there a lot of clubs in Belgium?
Yes, NVBK. I think there were more active clubs than there are clubs now. Yeah, definitely.
So nearly how many? Let's
say? It's difficult to say. Let's say when now I don't really have an idea how many are active. We have a lot of clubs, but when I talk about active clubs, it's clubs who prepare really competition dogs. Let's say 70 active clubs now. At that time could be 30 more.
Okay.
So talk now over 20-25 years ago.
Okay.
There were more competitors. There were that is a little bit what we see the last decades. That we say the sport is going a little bit down.
Lower.
Okay, that's something else.
So you started your club, and by this time you started also your breeding, or not yet?
Yes, at the same time, because I could my first female really that I kept for breeding was a female, Linda, that I changed for a young German Shepherd. A guy said, I started my career with the German Shepherd and I want to end it. Yes. With the German Shepherd, and he had his female, so we do this exchange.
So you had a German Shepherd and you
I had a German Shepherd, if I remember, from Lithuania, because somebody said, because I knew the German Shepherds, and I said, something special. In Lithuania they have very good, he brought me one. It was a very good puppy. I changed it for the Molly. My Molly, I had a future with it, and the German Shepherd, in the end, he was not so good.
So the name of the Malinois was Linda?
Was Linda,
yes.
Yeah.
And what was the background from this dog?
She had the background, the offspring, the parents.
Ancestors, yes.
Yeah. Was a mix of NVBK dogs and Kennel Club dogs. Yeah.
So you based your breeding
this
on
was
that
my
breeds.
base, yes, because she had qualities that I like. It was not. It was a very calm female with a very good grip. Not a hectic dog, not a barker. It was a type, like I say, a bulldozer.
Okay.
And that was my start. And I think the first breed I did with this female was with a dog that a young dog that Clément Bastens, the old guy, offered me. And that was my first dog where I competed with in NVBK.
Year, do you remember?
I think it was 99 or something, 99 I think, before 2000. I started with this dog in NVBK. It was a dog that I liked, the type of dog I liked. Good dog. And I make a breeding with this Linda and this dog, and it gave, I think, a male and 2 females or something. And out of this female I had, for instance, Kalasco, who was 2 times champion in NVBK, and this female gave a lot of dogs for me. It was a very good start.
You could say that in dog sport, did you have someone or some people that they were like mentors to you?
Of course, a lot. I always say I didn't invent nothing. You can mentors or people who inspired me. Yes, I will say since the beginning, the guys who were on the field when I was a 7-year-old boy, they inspired me because I saw this, and that was somewhere the start. And then certainly one of the first was this Juan Lopez, who was really important for me. Then there was Robert Genoux, who teach me. There was the old Clément Bastens, who did already dog sport for 35 years or 40 years when I met him. Now I have to be careful that I don't forget people. Willem van den Eyne, the breeder of Cartouche, was in my club, other competitors, and then later when you see the work of Bart Ballon, he inspired me for some things. People in Holland, Frans Spijken, the decoy, very nice guys. And of course later you met people also from other countries, and Eric Cavai, it's personalities, you know, it's yeah, a lot of people. I forget certainly a lot of people because, but I can say 50 names, and there will be other names maybe in the future that inspire me, and yeah, it's like this. This is dog sport.
Yes.
You're not alone, and okay, you're inspired and you take somewhere. I was never the guy to say this is the system. No, it's somewhere. For me, it's the old school, and let's say the very modern school, but none of the two are really my thing. I'm somewhere in the middle, and in the middle doesn't exist. Sometimes I'm more on the old school side, and with another dog or another person, we have to go a little bit to that side, and that's, I think, that makes a dog trainer. It's not like being like this. I don't believe in this.
So you mentioned the dog sport. What is the dog sport for you?
Dog sport? What is the dog sport? It's a difficult question, eh?
I would guess that you would answer NVBK.
Oh no. It is for me.
Yes.
It is now actually for me. But when I go to France, and I have a lot of friends in France, and I like the French
ring.
Yeah, I like the French ring. But when I go to France, I put on my glasses for French ring. I'm not the typical guy who a lot of people compare and they say, yeah, but in France they are biting like this and there is no this. Yeah, but okay, it's French ring. And we do NVBK. And when I go to Holland, it's KNPV. And that goes together with, for me, it's a KNPV dog. Maybe I can not compete in NVBK with him, but that doesn't make him not a good dog. It's a good dog
for KNPV.
And they have a history of 100 years, so they selected for 100 years. You cannot expect that I go to Holland, take a puppy, and it becomes all of a sudden an NVBK dog. Even if you have the training methods, there is some history that he has in his blood. And selection, so I can live with that, and I can
separate them.
I don't judge a dog because it's another program, and I certainly not judge programs. I like the KNPV, I like shoots. Yes, the old shoots I like. I can appreciate IPO. I can look at it and enjoy it. I put my IPO glasses on. French ring, okay. And not to forget Mondioring. so okay, that is that's how I see it.
And why you chose NVBK?
NVBK, because it's for me the best program in the world. No, because it's like this. If I live in Belgium, why should I do KNPV? I have a nice program. I have the facility to train with in other clubs. NVBK, it's like this. It's part of our history in ring. It's KNPV. It's NVBK, and not to forget the Belgian ring from FCI. But that are coincidences. Maybe if my route was a little bit different, and I come in a club where there are really Saint-Hubertus guys, I'm an FCI guy. Now I am an NVBK guy, but I can appreciate also.
And if I ask you today that you have seen all programs, that today you can start from zero, and which program would you choose? It's not really a fair question. No, because now it's NVBK and I don't regret it. I enjoy it really. So what you like in this sport?
What I like in this sport,
inspire you?
This folklore, you know, folklore. It's all the programs. When you look at the KNPV, it's a program, and it's, you know what you're gonna get. French ring, You know what you're gonna get. The only thing that changes is the decoy. It's a fast one, it's a smart one, it's a hard one, it's a soft one. That makes the difference. Go to IPO, that's a typical, it's always the same. You can prepare NVBK. When I say NVBK, I have to say Belgian ring program, because in Saint Hubertus is also like this. You know what you're gonna get, but they mix it. So the object every week, the callback is different, the defense is a different style. Okay. When I compare now, what I don't like to do, if you go in the IPO trial, you know you will get a dumbbell for the apport. That's it. In NVBK not. So that I like. This makes just NVBK.
And do you think this is the actual difficulty of the NVBK or something else?
Yes, it's one of the difficulties, yes. And the way we see things, for instance, the grip. You can lose, for me, a grip brings you 100 points on 400. Then we can say that you cannot lose 100 points, of course, but you can win them. Yes. It can make a difference. A dog who bites very full and a dog who does the same job, exactly the same, but bites not good, it can give a difference of 35 points. And that's a lot. So it's important, this.
So would you say that NVBK is the sport that counts the most the genetics of the dog?
No. Because a grip, okay, it's certainly also genetic, but it doesn't say because it's a dog, it's a full biter, that it's a good dog. I saw terrible dogs biting full.
Okay.
So that is another discussion.
Yes. And would you say that you said you had Linda, and then you got a male that you competed with?
Yeah. And he had not so a good grip.
Okay. And what would you say about, does good competition dogs also make good breeding dogs?
Yeah. Some people say, okay, he has to have a certain level before he can breed. I know, out of my experience, I speak for myself. My best stud dog that brought a lot of dogs who did competitions never saw a trial field. And some people say, yeah, you breed with a dog and he is not competing. It's true. It's a fact. But he brought a lot of dogs and champions and in different programs. Okay. But on the other hand, I had a dog. He won a lot of competitions. But I never breed with him. So,
yes.
Okay. You can say, okay, Christoph, you're breeding with a dog who is not doing competition. So I don't judge this. What is important is, you know, a dog can be good and a female can be good. You know what the most important is? That the puppies are good.
Yes.
And if tomorrow it could be possible that you have two dogs who are not good, and this combination gives dogs that you can satisfy the competitors and they can compete and the result is very good and the dog is good. Okay, who am I to say you cannot breed with those dogs?
Yes.
It's everybody from his own. That's why I have a little bit of problem with people that think that they own the breed. They tell me how to breed, and later they will tell me what clothes I have to wear and how I have to act and how I have to train. I hate this. I hate it. The breed, I'm looking for, I meet people all over Europe, let's say the world, that come to my place, and I always ask, do you know the owner of the Malinois breed? Who can claim this? So I have a little bit of problem with these Ras clubs who say you have to do this and this dog you cannot breed. Who are they? Only people who think they know. But do they know? Can be. So yes. In this I want to be a little bit the outlaw.
Yes.
And say, okay, let me do my thing. And in the first place, when I make a litter, I don't care
I would like to use another word,
Yes.
but I don't care if you like my dogs, yes or no. I breed for me what I like. And if you like it also, you can have one. But I don't force you. I cannot,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
if everybody
yes.
in dog sport, because this is a little thing, this for me, in the future of dog sport, this has to become more and more important. That people can a little bit do what they want, okay? Don't let them always rules and rules and rules and rules. We saw the result of rules and rules and rules.
Yes.
When people like this say, yeah, now I go to out of Mali's, it's important, and to not to offend somebody, I will go to another breed, to breeds who are nothing to do with ring sport. If you see certain dogs like an English bulldog, or there are where people say, now I will tell you, the club, I will tell you how to breed. What it is, eh?
Yes.
They cannot mate natural anymore. And
have
then
many
they
illness,
cannot
yes.
give birth natural anymore. I said, good job.
Yes.
But leave me alone with your rules.
Yes.
That's my opinion. Okay.
What do you think how do you think Malinois were and how they will be, you think? As a breed.
First how they became.
Okay.
How they will be. The future will tell us. And
how
they
became,
were.
then?
You know, it's with everything, eh? When you think of all before we worked harder, before people were more like this, before we had better dogs, before it was always better.
Yes.
Because it's a long time ago,
yes.
you know, and we see only sometimes the good things in it, what we want to see. I'm not convinced that Malis are now better or worse than before, because this is not only breeding, it's also training.
Yes.
And I think you cannot have one without the other, because we talk about working dogs. So now before you had old school, we had tough dogs. At that time, maybe we didn't understand why they were tough. Now we are so much later, people helped us to understand better training that we do now, more modern training with other tools. Tools that in the beginning people used not so good.
Yes.
It's not.
Yes,
It's like this.
Exactly,
it's an evolution. So this training became different. We understand more about the training we do now, and also we try to understand, and some of us do, understand what we did before. So we have a little bit an explanation why these dogs were maybe tougher before than they are now. So I'm not convinced about this.
So you think that there's no big difference from the past till now?
No, I have videotapes from 78 that the breeder of that Willem, breeder of Cartouche, who knew all these dogs, and this was, you know, when you talk with people like Genou, all these legends from before, they helped to build them, like Cartouche.
Yes.
And when you tell a lot of people, Cartouche is wow, this is a legend.
Yes.
And he deserves maybe to be, I don't know, I never knew him, this dog personally, so I cannot judge this. But I saw him on video. I have him on video at home. Okay. Yes. But you have to see it also in that time.
Yes.
So the training and breeding, and it was a better dog, and now they are worse. I will not make a statement about this. I think it's a little bit the same, but things changed. We understand more and do it differently, and okay.
Yes.
Okay, it was another selection, but I think also that we ask more from a dog. I don't say it was easier before, because the methods, the way they did it, that was the selection maybe, and now it's what they have to do. Because when the training gets better, you can ask more.
Yes.
So this is, I'm not convinced. I think this is still the Molly. And in the future will tell us. I hope we can talk again in 20 years and talk still about the Molly, because that means also when we will talk in 20 years that ring sport still exists. And that is one of my wishes, that we can continue this. Because
Yes. And do you think that closing the new income of dogs in the FCI pedigrees was a good idea or a bad idea?
you know, for me it's a bad idea. You have to go and get it. If you need something and you don't have it here, you go to your neighbor, he has it, you go and get it there. Because the purpose is to make it better. You never go and use a dog to make it worse, I think. You go and get something because in your idea to make it better, and in my mentality, I do what I want. If I'm convinced that this is making my breed, because I breed for myself, it will make my dogs better, I don't see that point. Eh?
Yes.
And it's also dangerous to put this wall around and say, no, not use this, because you know what ends? In the end, the pool is everybody fishing there in the same pool, and it becomes very narrow with all the problems it can give. There are people who can talk better about this than me.
And you think that this will change, or it will, or before it changes, it will completely
Listen,
damage the breed?
officially it was always like this. And it's hypocrite to say that it was always like this. So people will understand.
Yes.
Eh? Officially you could never do it, and I say it was always like this. People try to go, and they are smart. They came also to NVBK, because there were some dogs that they want to use. Smart people, but officially, okay.
Yes.
It was always closed.
And you think it's this happened because of financial purposes, or
What?
This with separating and put
this
rules
is,
and
there's only one issue, eh? It's NVBK. And in the Mollies and ring sport. So it's something from 64 or 65. I don't know what politics it was. I was not born yet. But I know that we drag it still with us. Nobody knows anymore exactly why, because before there was Kennel Club in Belgium and there was Saint-Hubertus FCI. Kennel Club is not FCI, was a big federation, was one day maybe the biggest in Belgium in ring sport. And then you have a split in Saint-Hubertus, and NVBK started. Also ring sport, a different federation. So this is something from before my time, but we still drag it with us. And it's not because the club separates and you stay in the Saint-Hubertus club and I go to the NVBK club, that we all of a sudden we are, you can not come to my field anymore, and because we are friends. This is politics, it's over our head, but we are somewhere, we are in the middle of it. And still now, when I had problems with FCI, it's known, it was spread on the internet, I was blocked with my dogs and all this things.
With this list with 7 dogs, eh?
Okay, I was in it with 2, so okay. We survived this, and it changed a little bit. It was, for me it was, maybe good for something. Some people, even in FCI, they start to think about some things.
Yes.
And that's a start. It's a start. So let's hope that people use their common sense and put their ego aside and think about the future. Dog sport, mollies, breeding, and all goes together. That's my meaning about it.
So now in Belgium, how many kennel clubs you have?
Kennel club,
I mean,
think
the federation. How many federations? Yes.
Federations. For ring sport, you have NVBK,
Yes.
the FCI, with Belgian Ring,
Yes.
IPO. I think from the 130 clubs, active clubs in the 80s, from Kennel Club, there are still 4 left. We had another federation at the coast side, West Vlaanderen. I think it's WAF. At the good days there were 33 clubs, but they became
Less and
all.
less.
No, they became NVBK, like
Okay.
a lot of clubs from the Kennel Club. They choose to become NVBK. So now in ring sport you have NVBK and let's say Centibertus Ring. That's what left. And the 4 clubs, Kennel Club, we will not talk about it.
Yes.
It's a shame because it's a beautiful program. A lot of good trainers in Belgium did this and came to NVBK. Like a person that I want to mention is Marcel Steurs, a multi-champion for me.
You don't often for him.
Yeah, because it's for 20 years that I know when he comes to my club. He's not a real member, it's a member of another club, but we work 2 times a week. He comes with his friend Jean-Marie. It's a little fellow, but it's for me a big person in dog sport, and he meant a lot. And in Kennel Club he was a multi-champion, came to NVBK, and a lot of good dog trainers, I think smart dog trainers, they came from Kennel Club, because that program is a little bit, you know, in the beginning it inspired also, it was close to French ring somewhere. Some things you recognize. They also come on the field and start with the jumps. 430 jumping, Kennel Club, French ring. They could do a skive on the object with a little bit of the rules, but it's similar. The grip is not counted, but no out is counted. So these guys had another mentality of training. NVBK, the grip, he stays a little bit in. Oh, it's not so important. The grip is important.
Yes.
And the Kennel Club was, the obedience was more important, and a little bit like French ring. So these people, and that make a mix now from, okay, there are a lot in NVBK and some certainly in the Belgian ring sport. And yeah, okay, that's the 2 biggest federation for me for ring. And then of course, not to forget, because they are also FCI, is the Mondioring clubs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many people from the Mondioring world, they come to you for training.
Many. I helped people.
And many they come to you for the object and the defense.
Yeah. Because we have, I say mainly a lot of people I helped with the object, but this is not because there are no people in Mondioring who can make an object. But most of the successful people in Mondioring in Belgium, if I can say this, they come out of the old school. When I say the old school is Belgian ring
Style, yes.
So they have another kind of preparation. Why? If in Belgian ring sport before, because now it changed also in FCI, let's say in NVBK, when you train, when you go to a trial with a young dog in the lowest category, young dogs, category 3, you do the same exercises as a category 1 dog. So that means you have a callback and you have a defense and 2 objects, and the 2 attacks and the search, you have everything. Of course it's adapted.
So the mentality
category 3
is
category 3. So when we have a young dog, of course the object we don't wait until he is 4 years to start it. What is a little bit, that's why I had clients out of Mondioring who didn't came out of the old school. They train the system, the program from Mondio, they think it's a system to train. So that means 2 times attack and defense for category 1. So I want to compete as fast as possible. So in this club, these guys together, they say, okay, attack out, this is important, and the defense.
Yes.
And then later, when they go from category 2 to category 3, they have 3 months time to make an object. And I'm convinced, let's say I talk now out of my NVBK to Mondio, that Mondioring object is the most difficult of all. For me, it's more difficult than French ring, certainly than KNPV, and also more difficult than NVBK object. But the gap is too big.
Yes.
Some people have a category
two doggies then 4 years old, some 3.5, and certainly for foreigners who don't have this culture of ring sport,
Yes.
the gap is too big, because all of a sudden they say, okay, now we need it, the callback and the object. We will do this. Now we have 3 months. We will quickly make an object.
Not
Forget
possible.
about it. It's not possible. That's why I had a discussion with Mondioring people. If tomorrow I do Mondioring, I would try to lobby that this program. I understand why the program is built up like this, because they say, okay, then we have more
bring more
people have
inside,
access
yes.
to do this. So they also understand that object is difficult. But if your objective is, I want a lot of dogs competing in category 3, you cannot fool the people. Fool the people.
Yes, yes.
And okay,
Yes.
now it changes, but before, what was the Mondioring country?
Yes.
Belgium.
Belgium, yes.
Are they better than these guys from Sweden or from dog trainers? I think not, but they have the culture.
The culture, yes.
So, and they don't talk about it, they make a program, because it started a little bit in Belgium, Mondioring. They started it, and this program, okay, to be
Yes.
that people can easily compete, but the problem comes later. So I would lobby to make an
Different-
object, let's say, not in category 1 maybe, okay, but category 3, a simple object.
Yes.
Not because now you come in category 3, they give you an object, this table is the object, and then this decoy is fast as a rabbit, and he has an accessory, he pushes in the door, I say, okay, no object. It's a little bit a shame. It's for me, it's a little bit sad when I see this. You win members with this, I'm not so convinced. People like on a competition that their dog is there a little bit lost and says, oh shit, what to do? So I would lobby for a simple object.
Yes.
And that is another discussion then. They simply go in and out, he bites and then. Not for this object really, but that people
For the
start to
mentality,
train
yes.
it earlier and think about it.
And what is your opinion in general about Mondioring? Which is a...
It can be, okay, nice program. The only thing that I hate about Mondioring is this 10 minutes defense. This makes me fall asleep and I don't see the thing of it. 10 minutes.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, no. If you have, if you're dog trainers, if you have a dog, a good dog, and it goes a little bit together and he's a little bit harder for the control and is a little thief,
Yes.
or sometimes a little criminal or a big criminal, it's hard to keep him this 10 minutes in control. You have to do more this. He can hesitate in the contact, and then this little dog you pull 2 times to his ear, 2 times a year, and everything is perfect. So it doesn't say something about, because in the end competition, what is it? To see what
Yes.
dog can do what. And if it's always this focus on this long defense, and I think for the public also it's really not interesting.
Yes.
It takes too long.
So you think the objective of defense is something different than what happens now in most Mondioring competitions?
Yeah, for me, yes. I like to see test the dog, but in a shorter time.
Yes.
But I don't like it. I train it with people, of course, because they need it, but it's not my thing, really not.
Yes. Before you mentioned about the old school type of training in the Campervau and in Belgium in MVBK. Nowadays that we have also internet, it's a big discussion all the time, and even governments change their laws because of that, about what is abuse, what is not abuse, what is good, what is not good to use, like they call us the choke collars, or what is your opinion about all this?
What is abuse? For me, abuse is feeding your dog so much that he has health problems. That is abuse. Kicking a dog to teach him something, that is abuse. That is abuse.
Yes.
Using an electric color, like a moron. Abuse it really just because you don't know what you're doing, that the dog is screaming. I am against this. I am against this.
Yes.
It's normal as a human being. I don't like that people hit the dog because they're just stupid. They just understand him. Of course, I'm against this, and also against this abuse of training so positive that the dog later bites the family and bites people and
becomes dangerous for society.
What can happen, because this can happen also, because we always talk about the dogs and welfare. Yes, it has to be there, but a friend of me in Holland, Fabian Bernards, he gave me one day a good example. He said, yeah, we talk always about animal welfare and we mean dogs because it's our thing.
Yes.
And he says, okay, you train only positive, and because of you training positive, you have not control on your dog, and you go for a walk and this dog escapes and you call him and he is not coming back because he is chasing a rabbit. And you there with your pocket full of treats, he did it 1,000 times in the kitchen, coming back for his treat or in the backyard, and now this rabbit is running away and you have no control. So this dog runs, and then I make a worst case scenario. He runs and scares, because this dog runs after a rabbit, he scares another animal that jumps on the street, and a man is coming there on a horse, and this horse is scared, and you coming with your car and you have to make a maneuver, and then another man is driving there with his girl on the bike, and you cause an accident because of this. You see the chain.
Yes.
You see this chain. So it's not all about just welfare for this dog, it's welfare for animals. This rabbit didn't ask to be chased by this dog who is not in control. This other animal or this horse didn't ask to be scared. Certainly not the guy who was sitting there, he didn't ask for that. The guy in the car had to make a maneuver, he didn't ask. And certainly the guy with his little girl on the bike, in the worst case she falls and it's serious, they didn't ask for this. To make this animal welfare and human being welfare better, I say, if I didn't train only with my treats this dog in the beginning, and I introduce a little bit discomfort in my system to teach him this, that I have control, because confidence is better than trust. If I introduce this a little bit, the whole chain
changes,
would be better off.
Yes.
So is this
balance?
And people say, well, but but it's your child. And you know, this is things that I say 5 times a day. Eh? A problem in your street is nothing. A problem in your house
is something. Yes.
This is, you know, just like people saying, oh, I'm against dogs. E-collar, now I talk mainly about dog people, because don't put it all on the people who don't know it and they have a judgment. It's also normal. They don't know it, so they judge easily. It's human. So let's say, okay, I'm against the e-collar. All the people in dog sport, from agility people to doggy dance, this is all working with dogs. And they say, oh, e-collar, we don't use this. To dance with the dog, we don't use it. Or do our obedience, we don't use it. Okay, it's good. Let it be forbidden. Okay. The next step will be, is biting, is this necessary? Oh, no. All these people who don't do bite, where they say, we don't care, we can continue. But in the end, you see, this is, Felix Ho explained this somewhere. And he said, okay, in the end it will concern you, because the last thing is, these people, and there are already some people that say, oh, is it necessary to train a dog? Is it necessary this? It's not necessary, just let them run in your garden and have a good life. Is this necessary to train him? Yeah. Then I go also extreme and say, is it necessary that people go 8 hours a day in an office, because that is human abuse? And working in a factory and being stressed, is this? No, no. People are not made to work, they are made to play. Okay. I cannot win this discussion. Of course, now with the internet, it's a beautiful tool. You can have information from everywhere. The danger in this internet is that people start something and it's...
Yes.
Okay? Before, stories had not so a chance to become...
To spread.
To spread it. Now, something happens, they take 5 seconds of me training in a video, they put this on the internet.
Goodbye career.
If I go to the average family and I film a whole week the father or the mother with 5 children, and I can take out of this week filming 10 seconds and I put it on the internet, they are abusers of their children.
Yes.
So you have to see the whole picture, and that's why I hate it when people jump on somebody and chasing somebody like a witch, you know,
yes.
And they because they see, and it's so easy to see 5 seconds and say, oh, this is a bad guy, man, we have to chase him down. And it happens every day. And then, yeah, that is really a shame. They destroy people and they use material for politic things and to manipulate, yes. And to, I hate it. For this like Facebook, it's nice, I have also a Facebook profile. It's rare when I write something or I comment on something. I can make a joke and I look at,
yes,
how people train, and it interests me, and I see photos, and from time to time when I have time I like it, and yes. But I'm really a little bit
suspicious, okay? Yes.
No, it's not question of suspicious.
You take care
when I
about
see this,
yes.
Sometimes how people
act,
judge other people, and they don't know what's about. They saw only a little thing and they judge so hard and ruin.
And I think the main problem, what frustrates me, is that for them it's easy to comment, but they don't think about what this comment or this share or whatever, how it will affect the other's life, you know?
Of course not.
So maybe
so easy.
Tomorrow he will not have money to feed his children or something.
Okay, you know, it's people are strong when they are alone, sitting in their sofa and judge other people.
Yes. And I think this is a big difference with the past, that before internet, which I agree, internet helped me meet you, for example, you know?
Of course, it's always a good tool.
Yes.
It's a good tool, but
like
you have to
internet
use it
helps
right.
us say these things, you know? But before internet, I think, as a dog trainer, let's say, you had to prove yourself in actual competitions. You had to relate in real life with other persons.
Yeah.
And now people get or they build up a role in their mind for themselves out of nothing, you know, out of 5 posts. And
yes, this is the evolution. It's before, yeah, you had to write people, you had to go and meet people, you had to ask them
to make effort.
Yeah, it's like this now. You go on the internet, you find everything.
Yes.
Things who are correct and a lot of things who are not correct, who give a different image. So it's up to you again why you came to my place and you saw me on internet, but you came. So I will have another, when we discuss in the evening with a coffee and a cigarette, me,
yes.
It will be different. If I never met you and you ask me something, I write and I keep it.
Yes.
because I don't know how you are. If you come to my place, you do the effort and we talk, it can give a different relationship.
Yes.
So you will know more than what is on the internet.
Yes.
It's like this. So it's
Plus
somewhere
yes.
it's a little bit, it will be the same again.
Plus
Like before
we
you
were
met
talking
people.
yesterday about that. Plus the whole society is changed. Like you were telling me the story about the Americans, for example, America, that many people, it's their profession that they jump in front of cars, or they let the child with a teacher and then they sue him.
Okay, people, we get information, and okay, we look at the news, and we take this for, you have to, for a lot of people, what this guy says is the truth. So this depends from person to person. You have to filter this.
Yes.
And it's a good example is when they talk about, let's say this evening on the news, it's about dog sport. And this guy talks about dog sport, you say, man, what is he talking about? So, and then I say, this is 0.00001 of the information.
Yes.
That I really know something about it because I do it every day and I have big problem with it. So the rest is the same for me. Well, yes. Okay. It depends where the information comes from.
So back to the tool, the using of the tools.
Yes.
So do you use e-collar or not?
Of course. I use e-collar, and I like to use it, and I think I use it in a proper way. So with the tool, it's always the same. I saw people training before, let's say with a stick. But you have people who can work with the stick, and you have people who cannot work with the stick. The guys who cannot work with the stick, they are abusers of the stick.
Yes.
And the others, they use it well. So the stick, this is the old days. Now we talk about the modern tools. A pinch collar, little rope, a flat collar, and the e-collar. The e-collar is for me a very good tool. Of course you have to use it properly, and people have something, okay. But that's why for me Bart Ballon is the master, the master brain. Yes. After the e-collar, and people have to learn from that guy, and then see it from that side. That's the guy who has to stand up and defend the e-collar because he knows really. And okay, he changed something also in dog sport because of this, that I respect a lot, and he learned us how to, or he tries to learn people how to use it, and he certainly shows how you have to use it, that it's not a bad thing.
Yes.
And that's important. People like this are important.
And you know, it's often they don't understand, the people that they make the laws, and now in Greece we are in a strange period with new laws about animal welfare. They even want to stop to sterilize all dogs. Only if you're a professional breeder, you can have a dog without. I mean, can you imagine the paranoia?
I will answer this, and everybody will agree. It's not the first stupid decision that politicians take or make.
And you know, I use this example, like in Holland, they are trying to, or they did it, I don't know now, but to forbid the e-collar.
Yeah.
But they cannot understand that there are so many Hollandish trainers that if they cannot use it anymore, the e-collar, they will jump back to middle age, you know.
But you have this is also, so don't put the blame only on the guys who want to forbid it. Now it's a little bit strange that I say this, but I analyze the thing. We are dog sporters. We talk about this for 20 years, that it will be one day forbidden. Did we do something about it? No. We were so occupied with our passion. And training dogs that they say, they talk about it, but okay. And me also.
Yes.
More important to train the dog and to continue. And now we get the feeling, oh, it will be too late soon. And in some countries, it's too late. And now, yeah, it's a little bit late. But I don't blame now all. Yes, I blame a little, but if I blame the dog sporters, I blame myself also. Because I did nothing for that. Yes, on a local thing, when a client comes and say, okay, this we can fix my way. I can give you guarantee to fix it if you use the e-collar. They are against it. I explain them, but this is on a local, on my training field.
Yes.
And after half an hour they say, okay, I let's give it a try.
Yes.
And then they see that it works, and it becomes people later when they are walking on the street and the dog has an e-collar on, and they meet somebody and they say, oh, what are you doing? An e-collar on the dog? They become defenders of the e-collar. So I did something, but it's on my field. Somewhere it's for my profit, because it's a client. I admit this, it's like this. Don't have to find excuses. It is like this. So we had normally years ago, we had to create a lobby of people, trainers from all over Europe.
I will
and
ask
then
you
do
something
about
I will
it.
ask you something. Your job is to train dogs.
Yes.
So you focus on training dogs.
Yes.
My work is to
people.
To be political, to be a politician.
Yes.
So my work is to manipulate. Okay. If I get that we need to defend what we think right, I agree on that. And we as dog sporters, we should push more for what we think right. Yes. But I will ask you something. How is possible to create, let's say, a lobby or a team or whatever of dog sporters when you see that even big names in dog world, they are hypocrites, you know? So when I have a video online and you do the same thing with me, because you want to pretend that you are the white star, you know, of dog training, you share the video and you say that Sotiris, you have to burn him because he is whatever. I mean, how can you create a team like that to defend our sport or our breed, or because this happened with the pit bulls, this happened with the Dobermans. You know, there is no, in my opinion, there is no consistency between the dog sport members, or as it should be.
Yes.
So
it's a little bit sad, it's a little bit everybody for
himself.
His own. For his own. So, but this is the same as I mentioned with we will forbid this, and the rest say okay.
Yes.
And
yes.
This is politics. It's not so simple. So if they can create a lobby against it, we must be able to create a lobby to defend ourselves. So, but we have to start with it and not talk about it. So when it starts with
being honest.
Being honest, and I say, okay, I use the e-collar. I used it, and before I did old school. Okay. And I changed, and I use now properly the e-collar, and I believe in this. It's a good tool.
And you know, the big difference for me is that everyone has his opinion. But
has to. Everybody has right to his own opinion.
Yes.
That's important.
But for me, when you have an argument, you need to have proof for what you are saying. So if you say that the e-collar works good, but then your dog has to show this. And if your dog show this,
we have. Listen, there are on internet also films about people who show this. The best example is a Belgian guy, is Barbelon. He shows it. You cannot say this dog is abused. Sorry. It's every dog sporter. When you're objective and you look at this work, when somebody trains a dog like this for IPO, I say hat off, and this is beautiful. I can enjoy this, even if I'm an NVBK guy. So it starts there. For me, it starts there. And don't fight over, and it starts also my NVBK and your Mondio and your...
Yes. We have to get the
dog
overview,
sport,
yes.
respect the other guy, and okay, you have to say something. Say it, and don't be the sneaky asshole, because we have too much of those.
Yes.
But I don't think this is only something in dog sport. This is another.
Yes.
This is something else.
So to change the subject. Okay, it's not a happy subject still, but yes.
We cannot avoid it.
Yes, we cannot avoid it because it's yes. I wanted to ask you, like, how does it feel when you train a dog and you build up? Like I ask you, like a dog sporter to a dog sporter, and I take the incident with Pistolero that.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
that in
was
his first competition he had this injury, and how is it possible to handle something like that?
Yes, you have to handle it, and after this incident I can say, oh, I'm so down, and I blame
whoever,
somebody for this, or I just give it a place and accept it. That doesn't make it less sad somewhere, but it happened. Okay, you cannot turn the things. He broke his elbow in an attack. It's over. For dog sport career is over. Okay, that's one of the few things I wrote on internet. I didn't on Facebook. I don't look for responsible people for this, but I want that people take their responsibility, and then everything is set. And I took mine. It's a family dog operation. I will find a good place for him where he can live in the house and 3 times a day walking. I cannot give him this, so I'm not selfish. I gave this dog to somebody. When you love him really and you like him, you want the best for him. Some dog lovers, like we say, will say, oh, he's not good enough for the sport anymore again, and you kick him out. No. I give him a better life, because a dog at my place that I cannot work, I suppose he is not really happy. I don't give him the best.
Yes.
So, okay. And people, then you have some people, they start to make conclusions already and this and that. They never say it to me, but okay.
Yes.
You hear this, and this is a little bit, not sportive, and
Behavior, yes.
okay, I can place this also. So this, I will already train another dog, and it's not the end of the world. It happened, and it's like this, and okay, we will overcome this. I had things before, and every dog sporter had this. No, we don't have to whine for. It's sad for the dog, and it's like this. Okay, it happened. We continue.
And if I am to ask, which were the most important dogs you had in your life?
All of them. Because I kept them. I kept them, not in this case of Pistoleros. Yes. I gave them away because it's still my dog. This is something else. But the rest that I kept, they were all different. And for me, when I take another dog, I see his qualities, and I go out. I like him or I don't like him, and I go on, and I don't compare him to the previous dog or the other dogs, because then you stay for 20 years there waiting for that copy of the dog that you loved. And I'm a dog sporter, so I want to train dogs and be there again.
Yes.
So that's my attitude about this.
So we should wait for your
for the next dog.
Yes.
Yeah. We will see. I will not predict or say it will be in a year or in 2 years. We will see. It's not the most important thing. I can enjoy people from my club, experienced people, but also I still invest in new guys.
Yes.
New guys that come out of another sport or never did dog sport. I help them to find a dog, to understand, to compete. I learn them to lose.
Important.
First, that's what you will do the most. Every dog sporter, losing. the competition, not winning.
Yes.
And that they stay in dog sport. And when I'm then looking at them from the outside, I enjoy the moment, let's say. It's also a pleasure. It's I decoy a lot for my own dogs, can do this. If I don't have a decoy and it is not possible to decoy on me, I take my dog, and it happened before. My dog is trained, I give it to a friend, and I put on the suit, we train, and he wins, and I don't have a problem with this. So nobody can put pressure on me to say, I won't help you anymore. That's not the problem. Then I take my dog, I give it to somebody, and we go on. And that makes it comfortable, you know.
Now that you mentioned your club, the people that come to your club, the last years, in the past you were, let's say, well known in Belgium, but the last years, because of the internet also,
Of course.
you became more famous.
Famous. They know me.
Yes.
Some people know me. But
Yes.
that's I have to say,
How
and
I
I'm
mean-
honest about this. This is because of the Mondioring. Because I helped some people in Belgium for Mondioring, and they had connections
Yes.
in this Mondioring scene, and these people were curious, and they came, and of course the door is open for everybody. A beginner, a champion. I'm interested to work with. If the people are nice,
Yes.
I can look at their dogs.
So I want to ask, and it's also.
Oh,
Opa,
sorry.
It's okay. And also the breeding. Wait. Yes. And also now, I would say 7 out of 10 maybe Mondioring people I know, if they were about to buy a puppy, they will come to your lines. I mean, what I want to say is that how do you
let's,
feel
let's
about?
say it differently. A lot of people who know me in Mondioring sport,
Okay.
they know me and they saw the dogs. Of course, some of them are interested in this. So
Now, how I wanted to ask, how do you feel about that? That, you know, at this point, you are a really
listen,
well-respected person.
let's say when I go to a Mondioring competition, and 10 years ago, oh, these dogs from NVBK, or they who compete in NVBK, and this system is another type, and all this bullshit. I cannot say that it's this is a little bit this with my ego when I stand on a Mondioring competition and I say, oh, this is Jackie's son, and this is Eden's son, and this is okay. That's nice. It feels good, of course.
Yes.
Because it's things are nice when you can share them. You can sit the most beautiful view.
And if you are alone,
And you see this and you sit there alone and you look and say, oh no, this is a place, whoo. But it's nice, and that's why people take photos to
share
show and to share it, that other people, and yeah, okay.
Yes.
It's nice that some people say, okay, I like this and I want to try it.
But it's important for me to note what is the price you have to pay for this success. I mean, how many hours you work, and the investments you have done.
It's like this. People sometimes come to my or oh, nice, you train dogs every day and ring sport and this. I will do this with the balloon and say in the morning I'm picking up for 3 hours dog shit and cleaning kennels and taking dogs out, and in the evening another 2 hours. So that's the not so romantic side.
Yes.
And everybody who is in dog sport and tries to be professional or is professional, lives from it, will recognize this.
Yes.
So it's a lot of
Effort.
It's and then to come back, you have a few females to try to breed. You're picking up their shit 365 days. You do this a whole year long, taking care of your dogs and do all this work. I don't want to be told how I have to breed my female, or somebody telling me that her head is a little bit too large and her tail is a little bit too long and she is too big, or the day those guys who claim the breed and tell me how to breed, they come and help me every day we can maybe discuss about it. They can
Have an
decide
opinion.
what I want to do, you know. And
Yes.
okay.
So, Christoph, it was a big honor and pleasure to host you for a seminar here, and I'm really thankful that you gave this interview. And I hope you had a good time in Greece.
It was a pleasure for me.
And maybe in the future we will make another conversation,
Okay.
because
Perfect.
the matters are so many. Yes.
Yeah, we will make another one.
So,
Okay.
consider you have a friend in Greece, a new friend.
Okay. Thank
Have
you
a nice
for
day.
everything.
Surfing